Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm Danny Garola, Pink Barn Stamper, coming to you from a kind of windy, little bit chilly Tucson, Arizona. I wish you all the safest and happiest of upcoming New Year's. Can you guys believe that this will be my last time live here in 2025? And I will see you guys in 2026 next year. It's kind of crazy to say. I hope you guys all had the merriest of Christmases. We had a wonderful time around here. Very chill, very low key. First year with my son's girlfriend that he had over. So that was wonderful. We always welcome, new people in. And I have been kind of pondering on what my New Year's resolutions will be. Do you guys have any upcoming New Year resolutions that you would love to share? I would love to hear what everybody's resolutions are. The only thing that, and I do it every year, and I think it's probably typical that all of us do it, is it's always, hey, I want to lose weight, or hey, I want to get healthier. And for me, I guess it's not even necessarily losing weight. I think it's that I want to be healthier. So, and I always go into it thinking that I want to, what's the word? Do more food preservation or preserving. So I do a lot of canning, jarring. A friend just visited me, and I like to create my own. Like, I created a sourdough starter, and then I made tortillas for the first time this last year, and I have been really, really, really loving this whole sourdough journey that I have been on. So just the other day, was it yesterday or no? I think it was Saturday. It was either Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. Days kind of all blend together at this point. But I made my very first. It was a garlic cheddar herb loaf. It turned out, it was my best loaf I've ever made. So I've really been trying to work with my sourdough, the starter that is. I didn't buy a starter from anybody. I didn't get a already like yeasty, I guess you would say, starter. I made my own. So it had to sit on the counter for weeks and weeks and weeks and build itself up to build its yeast content, I guess it's gluten content in it, for me to be able to get that bubbly, I think they call it like the hooch. I'm not sure what the word is for it, but I've really been kind of working with that, working with my moisture versus the flour, and then adding wheat flour or rye flour to it to kind of give it more of a boost. So, like I said, this last couple of days I made the herb and garlicky one, and that was a hit. It, like I said, it turned out fabulous. It was probably my best loaf I've ever made. A couple weeks ago, I dove in and made a cinnamon raisin loaf. That turned out pretty good. It was a little bit too dense. It didn't get that fluffy, springy feel that a traditional sourdough should have, but I embraced it. We ate it. It was good. I threw some raisins in it, cinnamon in it, and some brown sugar, and made kind of a swirl in the inside of it. So when you cut it, there was like the swirls of the cinnamon. Yeah, really good. I've also been making meals in a jar, kind of. That's where I talk about like the preserving the foods. I've been following a couple of people on TikTok that have some fabulous recipes on there that show you how to like make your own rice-a-roni. Rice-a-roni is a huge thing in my family. We love all sorts of flavors of rice-a-roni, but when you flip those packages around of your rice-a-roni, there are so many preservatives in it to keep that box shelf stable in the grocery store. So, it saves you money to preserve your own food, which is always a plus. But then you know what you're putting into it as well. So you get to play with your flavorings You get to play with your amounts, and then I have one of those. My friend had bought me one of the vacuum seal little jar things that go on the top of the jar and you push the button. Now those are not for long time storage. I will let you know that. So if you grab one of those, or if you have one, just make sure that you're not throwing those in the cupboard and leaving them for, 10-15 years. That's not the point of those. Those are just for, short term, 6-12 months. So anyways, I've been making I made homemade, what is it? The hamburger helper, and that turned out, I did a cheddar hamburger helper, and I put all the ingredients in the jar besides your liquids. Anything that's wet you don't put in there, and then you can add your, you know what the heck is it called, your beef bouillon, I guess that's what it's called, bouillon, or what else do they call it, stock. Yeah, then you add that when you go to put everything in the pan. But yeah, it's all been turning out fabulous. My family is actually really liking it. I actually just learned how to make like a 3-ingredient macaroni and cheese, and it blows. And I am a hardcore Kraft macaroni girl. I love me some Kraft macaroni. I will not buy the knockoff brands. It just doesn't happen. It's got to be Kraft or nothing. But my husband does make a mean macaroni and cheese out on the Traeger. I will definitely give him that one. But for a quick little, like on the fly, like just to throw a side together with your meals, I found this one that's, like I said, a 3-ingredient mac and cheese, and it turns out so stinking good, and it's quick, and I like it. It's good for the kids. When they want something quick and easy, I've got it, and that's there for them. So, all right, you guys, I better throw some glasses on so I can see what everybody is saying. Hello, Linda. We've got Linda, Melanie. We've got Frida in here. Welcome, welcome, you guys. Happy New Year's. Wish you had a happy Christmas. Like I said, we did. My husband got me a really, really big, large scale greenhouse. Well, it's white, so it's my white house. So I have 2 white houses now. I have not put the new one together because we really have to figure out in the yard where we're going to put it. I've been watching tons of videos on that. I think I put a picture up on Facebook yesterday of unless I forgot to put it up there, but I got my garden haul. I got tons of tomatoes that I picked yesterday and some sweet peppers. And we have a friend coming down from Oregon. She'll be here on the 4th. And I sent her the picture, and of course she's like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. And I'm like, yeah, just wait till the scale that you see that I will be able to yield once we get the large greenhouse put together. I'm super excited about that. My mom got me a new Stanley. Oh my gosh, I love it. Look at, it's the Christmas design. It's like the peppermint stripes on it. I love it. And of course it's pink and it's red, and so I'm totally down with this. And it's huge. I love this. Like, this is something that when we go into town, I can keep this, because my other one, I'm always having to bring a bottle of water so I can pour it in it, because I wind up drinking it when we're out and about. So this one, I think I'm going to be good to go. So this is pretty awesome. My husband got me a new pair of Hey Dudes, because I'm a total Dudes fan. And he got me the bright and sparkly, really, really fancy bling blings. So he got me that. My mom bought him and I both it's kind of a together gift, a huge like toaster oven air fryer. Now we do have a smaller little counter size air fryer, and we use that almost daily. Mozzarella sticks are kind of a go-to for us. I really like to add my avocado toast in there, and then I just let I put a tomato and some cheese, some Parmesan cheese, and I just like it to be a little bit toasty, so that's kind of a go-to. But she got us a big one that has like 3 different trays that goes in it. You can bake in it, you can broil in it. I can actually put my sourdough in it for proofing. And I will say that I did do that garlic and herb and cheddar loaf. I did proof it in that. So maybe that was all I needed, was a something that was kind of warm. It stays, I think it said it stays between 80 and 90 degrees inside of it. You set it, and then you put, after you do all your stretch and folds, then you put it in there to do that long proofing. So it goes in there, it stays a very steady temperature, unlike your home, especially if you have a heater going or you don't, and then the heat during the day kind of, well, at least here, we've been up like in the 60s the last couple of days, but then at night it drops down into the 40s. So when you're leaving something out there, it's kind of going through a fluctuation in temperature. In that big, huge air fryer oven, it's staying very steady. So maybe that was the magic touch that I needed for my amazing loaf. Maybe that's what it was. I didn't even think about that. But my mom did buy me a proofing box. I've been really kind of looking at them, and I had no idea that this air fryer did this until I was kind of flipping through the pages when I was kind of getting to know this new air fryer. And I was like, oh my gosh, it does proofing. What in the world? So I don't think I'm going to open the proofing box that she got me. I think I'm going to let her go ahead and send that back because I don't need both. But ding, ding, light bulb just went off in my head that that's probably exactly why my loaf turned out amazing. Because it did. It did rise quite a bit. It probably rose probably double from what my normal loaves go for. So that's probably, that's probably it. Alrighty, you guys. So currently I've started watching a new show. I started watching it last night. It is called The Sanctuary, A Witch's Tale. It is on AMC. It is one that I typically would not go towards. If you've ever watched, I think that was on, I don't remember what program that was on, but The Good Witch. It's kind of like that. It's not like, yes, is it a little bit spelly, that kind of stuff? Yes, she does do spells, but it's more holistically, I guess. So it's not like crazy witches, warlocks, that kind of stuff. At least so far, I haven't gotten into any of that because I'm not into that kind of like show. But, I'm giving it a shot because I just saw that season 2 just came out. It kind of popped up on something I might like. So I started watching that last night. And I actually, this last week, I started reading, it's called, let me get this brought up here. I just started this a couple days ago. It's probably going to look backwards for you guys, but it's The Murder Before Christmas. This is by Michelle Perez Wekek. I'm not sure how to say her last name. But this one, I did finish the ornament one. I think I already told you guys that. But this one is a Charlie Kingsley mystery. And just so I don't spoil too much of it for you guys, this one is where Charlie, she is kind of like the town sleuth. I always love me a cozy mystery. There has been ones that I've read that have been more on the psychological thrillers, and I like those too. But, during the holidays, you just want something that's a little bit lighter, not as heavy. That definitely seems to be what this one is. I'm only 27 pages into it, but she has a tea and tincture shop. It is more where, like I said, she's a sleuth. They wake up one day or right before Christmas and find that a town member has been murdered. And of course they point the finger at the wife, and they think that because he's died by poison. And of course the wife gets blamed for that. So she's kind of trying to figure out that, was it really the wife, or is it somebody else who has a vendetta towards this guy? So that's kind of just what it's about. So, it's just the little town sleuth person who seems to be the one that always solves the mystery before the police or the detectives do. So she's kind of I'm at the point where she's gone to the wife and she's kind of confronting the wife on the different things that have happened. So if you're looking for kind of just a snuggly little, you know, grab your tea, grab your coffee, and you want to just snuggle up and just kind of read a little cozy mystery, it's a pretty good one if you're not already into a book, but I just thought I'd throw that out there for you guys. All right, I'm going to get you guys flipped around. Enough of all that. We came here to stamp. I am going to be sharing with you guys. It is a new ish as of November it came out. It was part of the online exclusives. This is called the Friendly Foliage. And I've really had fun creating the 3 cards that I have decided to share with you guys. Now, I do have a different card in mind that I know that I'm going to create, not tonight for you guys, but I will try to get that created this week. I do have a pretty busy week, and I will try to get that up over on the blog later sometime this week, just so I can give you guys another idea using this set. All right, so let's get into this. So January is coming up on Thursday. We do have a birthday coming up this week. It is on Saturday, and it is Miss Melanie Foy. So early happy birthday to you. And then let me get you guys flipped around, and then we'll kind of talk about what is coming up for this month in January. Okay, so hold tight. Let me get you guys flipped around. Ooh, who said that it was windy and they lost power? I think I just saw that Linda said that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good there. We're zoomed in enough that I think you guys will be able to see what I'm doing. Yes, that was, sound like somebody honked outside. It does say Linda. Yeah, she said it was, we have 18 and windy and they lost power for a few hours. Yikes. Well, I'm assuming you guys probably have a fireplace, especially, you know, since it does get so cold. I had to make myself a cup of hot tea because I was so cold. I've been cold all day today. And I know that's really ridiculous when you guys are 18 degrees and here I am. We're 60 degrees right now and I'm complaining about being cold. I know that just makes me laugh, but I didn't mean that to be snarky. It was just, how dare I say that I'm cold when you guys have no power and it's 18 degrees. Yeah, yikes. You're always welcome to head out this way, but you may not make it here anytime soon because from what I've been watching with the airports, because of all the crazy weather, airports have been having lots of delays and cancellations, and just not something I would, and I definitely would not be on the road driving. Yeah, I heard that there was like an 18 pile up on one of the highways back east, which is kind of scary. My friend Jennifer makes sourdough regularly. Oh, wow. Yes. She's definitely going to have to teach you how to make sourdough. That was Kimberly who said that. And you're going to love it. It is a rabbit hole. I will tell you that you will definitely travel down that rabbit trail hole, whatever. And you know, just know that you don't need all the things. Sometimes we get into this thinking that we need everything when it doesn't have to be that crazy of a thing. So just enjoy making your bread. It's been snowy all day here. This is Kimberly saying this, and was 63 yesterday with tornado watch. Yes, I did see, I can't remember what state it was, that they did have some crazy winds and a nutso tornado. Like, that's scary as all get up. I have friends in Florida that does the same thing. Yeah, right? I know. We down here in the South, you know, we complain when it's, 70 degrees and we can't, wear our tank tops and shorts anymore. Oh my gosh, Kimberly got a Kindle for Christmas. Woo! So here's the thing. I'm not sure if you're already connected with, well, obviously to have a Kindle, you have to be connected to Amazon, but there's also an app called Goodreads. And I actually just kind of got turned on to that. And it's where I save all the books that I've read. And you can actually go in and you can click like how many stars that you would rate the book. But you can also share it with friends. So then your friends can see like what you've read. So you kind of share back and forth. So once you get it set up, you'll have to let me know, and then I can share the Goodreads with you. Now that is something that is separate. It's not, you can connect it to your Kindle, and you will connect it to your Amazon account because that's where you're going to get your books from. But there are some great free resources out there. Free Booksy is one that I highly recommend. All one word. You go to Free Booksy website and you will sign up. You'll pick what books that interest you. And then every day they send you an email with like whatever books that Amazon has free at that time. And it's normally like, that's where I get a lot of my Maisie Marple books, is because she'll put out her first series. And of course, she's going to get you hooked. So then she knows that you're going to buy the other books. And honestly, she's a favorite of mine. I really like her. You guys have heard me talk about her, but I like the fact that she is very reasonably priced on her books. Like most of her books are like $2. So I don't have a hard time doing that, because when she's got, 10 books in a series and I'm only spending $2 for it, versus some of the other series that I've read, each book is like $7.99 to $9.99. So you're looking, if they have a book of, 6 in a series, that's $60 close to. So I really, really highly recommend you guys go to Free Booksy and look at that and sign up for that so you get free books. And it's a great way to kind of check out authors that you may not have, seen go by, and you're just like, but then this way you can kind of dabble into it without having to spend a bunch of money. And that's just the kind of person I am. So there we go. Okay, so we have mystery stamping coming up. So for this month, mystery stamping will be on the 14th. That means the supply list will be posted on the 7th. Now, I do want to let you guys know that my daughter is going in for surgery on the 19th, Monday the 19th. So I will not be live Monday the 19th. We will probably be in the hospital. He said probably through like Saturday or Sunday. He said depending on how well she does, we could potentially go home on Friday. So I'm assuming I will not be live on January 26th either. Now, depending on how her recovery goes and how she is progressing with recovery, I'm trying not to take too much time off, but obviously she comes first over anything. But just, I do know that those 2 weeks I will be off because obviously I can't make cards when I'm sitting in the hospital, and I won't have anything around me. And I will be spending most of my time with her, helping her and learning how we have to help with her recovery. Because the crazy thing is that I found out that she will not be going through any kind of, what's it called? Kimberly, you just went through it. Rehab. She won't go through any rehab. Isn't that crazy? Like, you are having a full spinal fusion done. They cut from, like, they said I can't remember the number, but they start, like, if this is her neck, they come down, like, right in between her shoulder blades all the way down to her butt bone, pretty much. Like, so this is going to be a very, very huge surgery. And there's no rehab after that. That's wild. But I guess that's why they said that that's why there's a lot of things that they'll have to show us as she's recovering in the hospital. And because every person is different, that, some recover a lot faster than others. So we're hoping that she's one that does that. Oh, thank you guys for the prayers. Yes, I know I'm going to be a hot mess the week before, so I will keep you guys posted. So when you see me on Wednesday, the 14th, when I go live for mystery stamping, I will probably be a wreck by that point because we go in on the 13th and have her pre-op. So that's when I kind of find out all the fine details of what is really going to be happening. So, all right. And then winner will be drawn on the 21st, which like I said, will be in the hospital then, but I'll have my phone and my computer and everything with me that I can do that. So just so you're aware of that. Also, we still have our, and it will be continuous, the product of the month. Don't forget about that. So when you go to place your order and your order reaches $75, there's going to be a little bar at the top that tells you that you have qualified for the product of the month, and then it's only $5. So once you add that to your cart, it will drop the price to the $5, and then that'll add it to your total. Now, just remember that $75 does have to be after your rewards are added and what did they say? Coupons, discount codes, your rewards, those kind of things. The $75 has to be $75 after those things are applied. Okay, just so you're aware of that. And right now, for the month of December, I think most of you guys have probably already grabbed this, but it's this gorgeous pack of blues kind of paper. I'll pull this out and just kind of fan through this. So there's that front and back. There's that one front and back. Front and back. See, and the card that I was, the extra card, the bonus card, I think I'm going to actually use this paper. Because I tried to use it with one of the cards and it wasn't working out very well for me. So I think now that my bonus card is in my brain, I think I'm going to actually use this paper. Okay, so let me go ahead and put that away. We are in the January paper pumpkin. So don't forget to grab your add-on dies for the 3 months. So January, February, and March. The dies are called the Beautiful Blooms, but I really wanted to, I know it's kind of hard to see it in a picture or like this. I do like that they have them cut out in cardstock so you can see them, but I just got these in a couple days ago and I wanted to show them to you because I am digging this set of dies. I love this stamped image, and it's big. Like, I mean, you can see it in size that it does look pretty big there, but once you see this, like, it is a really big dyed image. It is awesome. Then there is your word beautiful. And then you've got some tulips with the stem and leaves. So these are great as just a standalone set. That's what I really like about having these. And they're little, like the packaging is, that if you want to take them on the go, and then you can just grab your little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss and take that with you. You have traveling die cuts and take your kits, and you will be able to make some beautiful projects on the fly. I'm really excited for this quarter. This quarter looks really, really cool. We've got the special delivery, which is the January one, the one that we are in right now. You can go ahead and grab that through January 10th. Then you've got one that's kind of like Easter, themed, and it also coordinates with the new Easter Joy sweet collection. Hopefully you guys that are customers of mine or you've requested your catalogs, hopefully you guys have already gotten your catalogs in the mail. And the Fluttering Garden, I know my mom is going to love this. She loves anything to do with birds, especially like hummingbirds. She's got special plants planted out there that attract the hummingbirds. So I know that's going to be one of them that she's super excited about. But it does say for the month of January, this one is going to be about your Valentine's Day cards. It says send heartfelt Valentines featuring sweet postage stamp designs and sentiment for love and friendship. It's going to make 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs, 3 different coordinating envelope designs, pre-cut paper pieces with gold foil accents. Okay, and then it says that the color that you're going to get for your Stampin' Spot is going to be Poppy Parade. So it is that beautiful bright red color. Yep. Okay, so we've already gone through that. So I highly, highly recommend that you grab these. Now these are as supplies are while supplies last, but this is the Beautiful Bloom dies. Those can go with so many of your projects. Okay, and then there is that beautiful catalog if you have not seen it yet. Oh, the colors are just so gorgeous. It seems very tranquil to me, very soft, and it's kind of the theme that I think when you get that catalog and you look at it. It definitely has kind of that soft look, and I like a lot of the products that are inside of it. Okay, so I also have Christmas cards to share with you guys. You guys have been so generous sending me beautiful, beautiful Christmas cards to the family. And so I definitely want to make sure that I share those with you guys. That's why I didn't share them a couple weeks ago, because I knew more were going to be coming in and I wanted to make sure that I share them all at once. So remind me, make sure you guys let me know. Question: your daughter's favorite color and how you spell her name. Okay, so look, let me show you. Her favorite color, I don't know, because since she can't really tell us, she can't talk. We primarily do like teal greens, like her room. It's kind of greens, and I do sign like that aqua. Her favorite show, well, she's got 2. Her favorite show is Bubble Guppies and Caillou. And so we kind of did the whole ocean theme. So she's got some like narwhals. So we kind of go with the blues. Now, the color for Rett syndrome, which is the diagnosis that she has, is purple. So we kind of do things in that color too. So aqua and purples, I guess. But we do pinks. So, I mean, there's really no, just kind of girly-ish, I guess you would say. How do you spell her name? So let me write it here. Kaydyn. It's a different spelling of Kaydyn, but the reason why I did it that way is I have a total Y fetish, and also because I wanted it more feminine looking. Because at the time when we had her, we knew so many boys named Kaydyn that I wanted something completely different. So that is how you spell her name. Okay, did you grab that? That tea is so good. My mom gave it to me. It's like a very sweet herbal tea, and oh, love it. Okay, so let's get into what we're going to play with today. So we have got the Friendly Foliage. You've got the dies and the stamps here. Some really, this is a great set. You guys really need to pick this up. It's got your thinking of you, you're on my mind and in my heart, sending love, get well soon, wishing you all the best, here for you always. So this is kind of one of the things that I think when you're done kind of making your Christmas cards, it's that time of year where a lot of people get the flu, the cold, the winter seasons. People are picking up, you know, those holiday. Not only are they picking up their gifts and that kind of stuff, but they're also picking up the germs and stuff, that because people are traveling, your kids are home, and then by the time normalcy comes back around and kids go back to school, that's when everybody's being exposed to all the things. Or if you were on a plane, or just the things, that this set is going to be really good for sending people the get well, wishing you the best, just a really, really great set. And it's pretty simple that you've got your foliage, but you add this die set with it, and you can get this in a bundle and save that 10%. You've got some really neat elements in here, along with some standalone leaf foliages. So we're going to get right into this. So let me show you guys the 3 cards now. We have done these 3 here. Now with this one, you might see it's pretty trashed up right here. I left it to show you guys what not to do. So I know it's ugly and you're like, ugh, that's gross, I would throw that card away. Well, I probably will after the fact, but I want you to show that, as a professional, we all make mistakes. So I want you guys to learn from my mistakes so you don't do the same thing. So I'm going to show you guys what not to do so you don't wind up with this or have to toss your whole card. And then, yeah, but there are the 3 cards that we are going to make today. I'm going to go ahead and start with, here is our kit. This is the kit for this week. So this will start today. So if you've placed any orders with me today, Monday, 12/29 through 1/4 of 2026. See, you got to get used to saying that 2026 now. This kit is going to be able with that when you place a $35 or more order in my online store, you can get this kit in the mail. So let's go ahead and get right into this. So I am going to be starting with this card right here. I love the greens in this. And I tried to do that kind of ombre look. I don't know if I quite did it what I was thinking, but either way, I still really love the way that these greens turned out. So we're going to go ahead and get right into this. So let me get all my pieces out here. My card base is 11 by 4 1/4. We're going to go ahead and score this at 5 1/2. Let me grab the bone folder. There's my card base. Then we've got a scrap of white, which we're going to be doing our stamping on. We've got a scrap piece of, this is soft seafoam. I don't use this color all too often, but it was the perfect opportunity with all the colors of the greens going on. And I've got a little gnat being a pest. And so what I've done is I've brought in the branching out dies, and I'm going to use the number 2. Let me make sure that that is the number 2. Yep, the number 2. And I'm going to die cut that from this piece of soft seafoam. Now just know that when you get your kit, the only thing that you're going to need to make sure you have is you need to make sure that you've got the Friendly Foliage dies and stamps. I will include in your kit the extra add-ons like this little piece here. I'll make sure I already have that pre-cut for you and added to your kit, because I really don't expect you to have everything. And I do sell my kits for $15 if you, are a demonstrator and you just want the kit and you've already got this set, or even if you're a customer and you already have this set, and you just want the kit to just be able to make these cards. I do sell the kit that comes with the PDF. It comes with, each one of them will have its own envelope, because that's how everything is going to come tucked into it. So just so you're aware of that. So just shoot me an email at pinkbarnstamper@gmail.com if you would like the Friendly Foliage kit. Now, kits don't get mailed out until the previous week, so they wouldn't start being mailed out until the week of like the 5th through the 10th. Okay, so there is the piece that we need. Then I have got my colors here. I'm going to go with the Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Lost Lagoon, and then Pretty Peacock. Now these are 1 1/4 by 2 5/8 are what these 4 are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my piercing mat here, and I'm going to line these all up on here. And I'm going to grab I've got all my stamps pre-mounted over here, but they're kind of stuck together. Oh, give me that. Okay, and I'm going to grab my Versamark ink. I'm going to start with these 2 first. And then I do have a little strip of the Pretty Peacock there. And then I'm just going to start randomly and the longer this sits, the more visible those will start to be. Okay, and then I'm going to pull the Old Olive up just to keep these lined up. Okay, and then pull in that mossy. Let's do one more right along here. I think that looks pretty good. Yep, that looks pretty good. Make sure they're all kind of evenly spaced there. Now I'm going to hold that up so you can kind of get a better look at those, since that Versamark is a watermark. So it's only like a clear stamp going on there, and it just brings out the tones of the paper. Okay, so that's what we're going to need with that. I'm going to grab my card base now, and we don't need this out here for right now, and we're going to go ahead and place these. Now you're going to do a dry fit first, just to make sure that we get our spacing pretty good. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to start gluing those down. If I can get the lid off of this. Just make sure when you lay those down that you're matching it up with the bottom one. So don't flip this around. You want them to look like they have been, you know, stamped together, which they have, but we're just separating them.
Yeah, when I was sitting here designing this, I really had this like green, blue kind of going on with all these different colors. I mean, with these like foliage, I really wanted to keep it kind of, that natural. And then I was like, oh, what if I go ahead and create like an ombre effect? And like I said, not that it's ombre, but it's the different tones of the blues and the greens. Okay, so now we've got this piece here. I'm gonna go ahead and do my stamping on here. Now I'm gonna do something a little bit different. So I need one of my little finger daubers. I'm gonna be using the big foliage stamp here. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp this right into, oof, get out of here, man. I swear we get a little bit of rain, which we got over the holidays, and then the flies start coming out. And I swear, nothing is open in this barn besides when you walk in and out, the door opens, but then there's always that one fly that has to be the pain in the butt and come and get, he's a photobomber. Do you see this? He likes to photobomb. He must think he's popular or something. Okay, so I just dipped that in the old olive. Now with my finger dauber, I'm just gonna come over here and just lightly tap this in my pretty peacock, and then just add a little bit of the pretty peacock just around on some of those leaves to make it look a little bit more natural with the colors blending. And then when I take that and stamp it, I will show you how it gives you kind of the different color effects that I was going with over here. Okay. So right there, you've got some of that more deep peacock on there along with that old olive. It's kind of faint. It's not a real drastic, but I think it really gives it a really cool effect. Okay, so we are going to grab, I'm done with these, so let's go ahead and slide those in there. We're gonna grab the dies. I'm really starting to love these cases more and more the more that I use these. I like that they're kind of just light. I have them stacked in, this is what I was telling you guys, the little gray baskets that I have. They just all kind of fit in there, all the same size. And so this is all new stuff from either the new catalog coming up, the January mini catalog, or that stuff from the new upcoming online exclusives. So that's what's in that because they came that way. All right, so for this, I want to go ahead and cut out the leaves so they stick out around. So right here, as you can see, they kind of stick past your little white, but you can take it a step further and add the inside, like the insert of it, and that's where you can see through this, and that's why you can see the soft sea foam through the little foliage. So I'm gonna lay that down and get that kind of lined up. Then I'm gonna take this and get it lined up, and then I can adhere them both down with just a piece of low tack tape. Okay, and just push that down there. Okay, I'm gonna take this over and cut that out. Try not to make it shift. Okay, and then when you pop this off of there. Oh, the other thing I did while I was on my little Christmas vacation, I guess you would say, just at home, is I cleaned my desk area. I cleaned my space around me. Cleaned all my rugs off because they've got tons of, or they had, it's kind of clean right now, but a bunch of the little dimensional backings, you know, these little backs that come off, they were everywhere all over the floor. So I did some little spring cleaning since it's nice and cool in here. Okay. So as you can see, that pops out and gives you that open background to it, so you can add any colors to it that you want. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that on this piece here. Now, if you want to, you can pop that up as well, which adds some pretty cool, not sure if you can see through that, but it gives you kind of a really neat shadowing behind it. I'm gonna actually just glue this down for this one. And I'm gonna make sure that my glue is not going past the like rectangle border that we have here, because those are gonna hang over, well, at least the top ones are gonna hang over that. So this is just gonna get lined up right in the center-ish of that. Push that down. And then on that light, that soft seafoam, it really helps with the pop of that green stamped image. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this little strip. This is a 1/2 inch strip. I am going to take the sentiment Get Well Soon, and I'm gonna use some white embossing powder. So I'm gonna grab my little powder puffy here using Versamark. I'm gonna stamp that on there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna grab my tweezers, because since this is little, I don't want my hands to get burnt. I'm cold, but I'm not cold enough that I want to be burnt. Okay, let me grab my heat tool here. That's when you know it's kind of cool out, when it takes forever for this thing to heat up. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, I'm gonna take and snip off. I don't need this super long. And then go up in between here, kind of eyeball the center. And then I'm just gonna flag this. The other thing I think that makes the holidays so kind of magical is because we're all together. Like, my parents are still here. It's one of those things that we get to all just get together and share that time which there's some people who don't have their parents anymore. And so it's lonely and that's sad. So I have to really, you know, look at it in that aspect that I'm pretty fortunate that my kids, you know, still have their grandparents and that kind of stuff. And we all get together as a family. Besides my, you know, oldest daughter who just doesn't talk to us, but maybe one day, we can only hope. Then I could see my grandkids, because that would be really cool. And that's the one thing that I know it bothers my mom, because she wishes the littles were around and that she could see her great grandkids, because she always talks about that, is that her not being able to see the great grandkids and ever meet them, and also having, you know, the time and what else was I gonna say? I forgot. Just the memories and them getting to know her. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on this end because the flagged side is gonna go over here. She talks about that as she's getting older. She's like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get, well, and my daughter, she always says, I think she says more about her than she does the kids, because she's like, it's just sad that I feel like I'm gonna die before I get to spend, you know, time with my adult granddaughter. I'm like, well, you know, there's not much we can do about it, so just hope and pray one day. Okay, so that is what I have chose for this one. Now, I do want to share with you guys what I put on the, look at these. These are those holographic resin dots that are just, oh, look at those. Look at the greens that kind of come out in that. I thought, what a perfect card for these resin dots. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of those to this card. So I'm going to grab a big one here. I'm going to put the big one right there. Grab a small. The small's going to go there. And we'll put the medium one right there. Oh, beautiful. And then we're going to do some stuff to the inside of this card. So I need to grab the 2 ink colors that I had chosen. We have the Pretty Peacock and the Old Olive. Now for this, I do need to have my chamois handy, because I'm going to be bouncing between the 2 colors. So using that same foliage that I used on the front in the Versamark down the colored cardstock, I'm just going to go ahead and grab, oops, hold on. I almost started stamping and that would have been all over my desk and things would have probably been bad. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to come in here, switch between my colors. Okay, just like that. Now, leaving those colors out, I'm going to grab the You're on My Mind and In My Heart. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to go into my Old Olive. Now I'm going to do that same that I did on the front. Go into my Pretty Peacock and then just kind of add the different colors around on that. And then I'm going to stamp this right down here towards the bottom. Just like that. Let's get these put away. And then, as you can see, it does that same look to it where it kind of fades in and out of the peacock and the old olive. I really like that. I like those two colors together. So there is card number 1. Very pretty. Love the colors of that. Okay, so let me set that one aside. Ooh, don't stick it in my stamped image. Now, card number 2 is this one. Now this one, so kind of the neat thing about that first card is we didn't use any cardstock. We kind of, I mean, any designer series paper. We kind of did cardstock with Versamark to kind of create our own, like, designer paper, I guess you would say. So with this one, we are going to use just a little bit of designer series paper for that. So for this one, what we need to do is we need to take our card base. Our card base is 8.5 by 5.5. And what I'm going to do with this is come in here and we're going to score this at 4.25. And then score it at 2 and that is 2 1/8. Had to look at my cheater ruler right here because I knew it wasn't over here where it was a quarter, but it wasn't quite tiny enough to be the 16ths. So it's the 1/8. Okay. So now we're gonna fold that together, give that a good crease, and then just take that little 2 1/8 piece, if I can get a hold of it, and then just fold that back on itself. And then that will give you kind of a little Z. Okay, just like that. Then we've got a piece here. This is our Misty Moonlight. This is going to go down next. Then we've got this paper here along with the little piece of Petal Pink. That is part of the, and I'm going to slaughter the name of that, Kintsugi? I don't know how to say it, but that is the paper there that we are using. So you've got these really pretty blues in there with some of that just pop of pink. And then you've got the gold. This is a specialty paper because you do have the gold foiling in there. And since I haven't used that paper in a while, I was like, you know what? I want to use some of that. And I think these colors go so well together. So we're going to go ahead and adhere these. Well, see, and that's kind of how it works. You know, people pass on. That's just life. And then, yeah, you do. You have to just make new traditions. And as hard as it may be, you know, I can't imagine, you know, my parents not being here. That's like not even something I like to think about. But it's real. Like, it's going to happen. And I know that. It's not a if, it's a when. We just know that, you know, along with myself. Okay, so then that's going to go on that little front flap there. I know my son went over to his girlfriend's house later Christmas Day to go over there and eat. And when he was there, so he came back early and he told me, he said, he goes, so her mom was sitting there and said that who's going to be the first one to give her grandchildren. And my son and the girlfriend both like put their finger on their nose and was like, not it. So the brother was sitting there and the brother was like, well, I've only been in my relationship for just a couple of months, so maybe not yet. But it's funny because, you know, some of us would like to have grandbabies around and whatever. And then I've got a piece of, this is Misty Moonlight, and then I've got a layer of white for the inside, just so we're kind of carrying that Misty Moonlight throughout. Then I've got this is a scrap piece. This is what we're going to be doing our stamping and the die cutting with. Now I have a small piece here. This is going to actually go on the back of this because I wanted it to be kind of solid, and I'll show you what it looks like without that. But I think it just kind of gives it a more finished look on that. So there's that. And then this piece here, once we cut this, I have measured out what it would be on the inside of my square. And so what I came up with is this is just a hair under 1 3/4, and it is a hair under 3. So pretty much 1 3/4 by 3 is what can mat the inside of your image here, without going past the outside, but just take it 8 on the side of a little bit smaller. And so that's what that will be for. We're going to go ahead and do some cutting. This and this are for my inside decoration, so I'm going to set that there. So what I'm going to do is, again, using that big stamped image, I do need to clean this off because we're not using greens this time. Make sure I get that pretty clean since we're going into a Versamark. I need my little powder puff. Just kind of dust that off really quick. Then we're gonna grab Versamark. And for this, since it's kind of larger, I'm gonna take my Versamark and just go over top of it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just one more tap for good measure. And then that is gonna go right on here. Just like so. I'm gonna grab my gold. So this one's to show you that you can stamp on this in embossing powder and get a very, very neat embossed look to this image. Okay, let's flip this over and go this way. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and heat that up. Oh yeah, I bought my daughter this thing for her to take to the hospital with her. It's by this company called Warmies. 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 And it has, I think it's I think it's beans, or I'm not sure what the heck it's filled with, or rye. Maybe it's rye or something. I'm not sure. But it's got stuff that is inside of it. Whoops, I can see that I've missed that little piece, but I think it's going to be good. It's stuffed with either beans or something, but it's this stuffed animal that's got this weighted like organic material inside of it that you can either warm up and make it a warm little stuffy that, like, especially when you're on your womanly and you're cramping and that kind of stuff, you can lay this. It's probably about this big, but it's an, and I'm going to slaughter the name of it because I can't say it correctly, an oxalotl or something like that. That little creature, that aquarium creature. Again, the whole aquarium theme. Or during the summers, because we get so warm here, when she's getting overheated because she really has a hard time regulating her temperature, we can put it in a plastic bag and throw it in the freezer for a little bit. And then that organic, like beans or whatever it is in the inside, gets nice and cool, because then you can lay that on her during the summer when it's so hot and kind of help cool her down a little bit. So I thought that was the cutest little thing. So when I saw those, I was like, yep, she's getting one of those. And now every night she sleeps with it on her stomach in bed. It is the cutest thing. Okay, so now I need to grab so for this one, I'm gonna do that same thing. I'm gonna lay this on here. We're going to die cut that along with this image here. And I had somebody give me a really good idea about making sure that before I put my paper on here, to use a dryer sheet over your paper, and it'll make sure your insides don't stick to your dies. But I forgot to bring a dryer sheet out here. Oh geez, I got that backwards again. Push that down. I'm gonna run that through the machine really quick. And it shifted, dang it. But good thing I caught it before I ran it through. Now stay there. Grrr. If you growl at it, maybe it'll work. There we go, got it. Okay, there's that. Pull this off. And there we go. You've got your beautiful gold foliage on that pretty misty moonlight cardstock. So it's not going with your traditional, stamping on white, but you're actually using your colored cardstock as a main focus. Okay, so now this is where I was saying we're going to take this piece and we're going to mat that behind it to give it that pop of pink, since that's our card base. So again, what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to glue the inside foliage stain on the inside of that little rectangle. Okay. Flipping this over, making sure that I'm staying inside, matching that up. Okay, so see how I was saying you can see the back side of the paper, and not to say that there's anything like bad about seeing that, but I don't think it gives it that clean finished look. So that's where I had this little blue leftover piece that I'm just going to finish it off by putting that behind that. I think it just gives it a little bit of a cleaner look. Okay, there is that. And now we've got these two pieces here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little foliage here. Now this is so cool. You can't really tell by just looking at this, but this has got some really neat open little airy space to it. And then I'm gonna use this one and I'm gonna do it on the gold. Where did I put my, oh, it's underneath it. Couldn't find my clear plate. It's because I left it over here, but it was underneath. And with it being clear, guess what? It's hard to see. Okay, same with that. It's very kind of dainty. It's got a little opening throughout it. And the same thing with this one. It's very, I mean, you got to be careful pulling it off of there because you will rip it. There's not much to it, but I think it's so cool. Scrape all those bits off of there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these two together. So the blue one here is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And this one is just your 4 by 5 1/4. But I thought that looked good being matted inside of there as well. Are you transferring old sets to it? What backing would you put on your sets? And would the rubber stamps fit in them? They are transferring some of the sets that they're keeping, like ones that are carrying over. They are carrying the, so okay, so in other words, you might see some sets in the retired products right now on our last chance list. That doesn't mean that those sets are retiring. They might just be bringing them back in this packaging. So they're clearancing out and they may not have a discount on them, but they're in the last chance products. So they will move those ones out, especially ones that are red rubber or anything like that. They'll move them out, get rid of those ones. And then any of the sets that they're going to keep, they will bring them back in these kind of cases. Now, one thing that I will say is for the stamps, I have seen some people taking the magnetic sheets, or not the stamps, but the dies. Geez Louise, come on, figure it out. they're taking their dies now, just like a lot of people keep their dies on the magnetic sheets. Some people are doing that, doing away with this white piece, because I know a lot of people don't like these sticky things. And I used to magnet everything, but you know what? I'm just a little too lazy for that now. And because our sets are kind of revolving so quickly, I just really haven't had the time to be that organized, to be honest with you. That just seems like a lot. And then it's a lot of money to have to spend as well. And as you guys know, I'm kind of a cheapskate. But not to say cheapskate, but I'm just frugal. That's a better word for it. Because obviously I buy all this Stampin' Up stuff. I'm clearly not a cheapskate, but I'm just frugal. So I don't have a problem with keeping them on these regular backings. These things stay pretty sticky for quite some time. Now, as far as the stamps come on the same little clear things as you would get in a regular, let me see, do I have a regular stamp set around here? Some people like to take the, let me see if I can find them right quick. Like, for instance, I'll just show you this one. This came the same way, where it came on a thicker backing, and then it's got a thinner layer over the top. So what I used to do is I would take my stamps off the thicker piece and lay them right on the case, which I'm sure a lot of people do this. That's why your words were on here, so you knew where your stamps were. So I would do it like that, and then I would just put the thinner piece just over top, because then it's a lot easier to pull off of there. Now, as far as this is where I was kind of like, in my mind, how do we make this where it's a little bit easier? And how do you know that? I mean, I guess you can look right here to know if all your stamps are here, because sometimes your stamps will get stuck to something and you'll be moving stuff around and your stamp kind of floats off somewhere else. So what are you going to do? Come in here and count all 10 stamps and all 10 stamps on here? I have seen one other person do an organization video where she took a white piece of paper and she just used this stamp right here with all the stamps still on there. So, like, in other words, she would take, let me just use this for instance. She would take this, she would take a white piece of paper, she would cut it down, pull this backing off of here, the thin one, the thin backing, take this, put this in her ink, like she would ink up the whole thing just like this, stamp this down on her white piece of paper, cut this out, and then have that be as her piece that she could then put her stamps on. So then she would know, instead of having to always come out here and look, oh, and count and be like, oh, there's that, because they're not in the same order as they are on here. And there's that one. It's, if you were to have them stamped on there and just slide that piece inside of your case, then you would know where everything is and what the stamped images all looked like. Then it's a good way of knowing also if your stamps are working correctly. Because do you know how many times that I've bought stamp sets? I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it like that because it doesn't happen very often, but there's been times, but it mainly had to do with my red rubber, that I would stamp and like part of the word wouldn't stamp correctly. And then I would have to call Stampin' Up, and they always make it right. Always make it right. But, you know, if you're stamping them off, then you're seeing it right out the gate that they're all working. The other tip that I have really been kind of on board with is taking your, again, taking it fresh, brand new, taking this and rubbing this with all your stamps on it. Like I've got mine over there. taking it and cleaning all your stamps first while they're on this sheet, because it'll be big, it'll be full of your things. Cleaning this all off, because as these go through the making process, through the manufacturer, through Stampin' Up, the manufacturer, sometimes they get like a weird film on them. So if you pull this right off here, straight from the package, brand new, sometimes you won't get the crispiest image from your stamp. So you may want to clean that off first before using them. And if you feel, if you're more comfortable with doing each one at a time, great, do that. But it's a lot easier if you just take that whole piece, because this is thick, so it's not as flimsy as this one is. Run that inside of your, now look, I lost my, did you guys see where my little gold one went? Did I tuck it in here? See, that one's already stuck to this card. Nope, it's not in there. Did you guys see where it went? Do I just need to get out some? Oh, for the love. Oh, there it is. Look, it's right there on the back of my thing. It got stuck in the little flap. So just a couple of little tips while we're kind of talking about that. Okay, so now what we're going to do with this is we are going to only apply just a little bit of glue down. So if you're looking at this, it's going to be on the left side on the back. So when you flip it over, I like to kind of hold it like this, see where it is, put my finger there, flip it around, hold my thumb, so then I know that I'm only putting glue on this side. Just like so. Then when I go to put this on here, I know that I didn't go past this leaf. I'm gonna go like that. Watching both my empty spaces to make sure I'm getting that pretty straight. If you're more comfortable, you can go like that and see if it's straight. If that's a little bit more like visual, you can do it that way. Okay, there's that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Thinking of You along with my Misty Moonlight. Now, when I close this, I know that I've got, you know, pretty much the whole half of this that I can go ahead and stamp my image without seeing it, because you don't really want your stamped image going out past your little image piece here. You want it to be kind of hidden, so then when they open that, they're like, oh, you're thinking of me. How sweet. Okay, then we're just going to take these little pieces here, and I'm just going to go with just a little line of glue just right down that little center stem. I'm going to go like that with that one. And this one. Just keeping those little stems together. Okay. And then when we fold that shut, you've got a very beautiful, so you can still see this part of the inside. Now you can, you know, bring in some of your embellishments. I think there's a lot going on with this that I didn't think, and those wouldn't go anyways. I do like the butterflies, but again, we've already got gold on there. So I decided to, actually, you know what? No, I didn't. I did bring some in. I decided to bring these really pretty petal pink embellishments in. Now these are called the Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots. That's a lot to say. But that's right. I did think that those were really pretty because there isn't a crazy amount of pink happening, that this just added kind of the perfect little amount on there. And a pop of shimmer. And then I put another little one just right down here. Because since that inside of the card is kind of part of the outside of the card when you're looking at it, you can put the little pretties on there and thinking of you. So there is card number 2. Okay, let me kind of clean up some of this mess. At least look a little organized. Since I did spend the time cleaning this desk off, not that you would know that by looking at it right now. Okay, so now I have all my little measurements right here. I think I'm going to leave those there just so we make sure we have everything. Okay, then I can go through them as we're going on here. So this is one of those really neat little pop-up cards. So it lays flat, goes inside of your envelope. So you can lay it in there and it goes just like that. Well, without ripping my little things off. Now I did notice with this one, I went a little too high, so I'll make sure on this one I don't. So for my card, well, this one's garbage because I tore this up. But for this card, I would have to give this to somebody because I wouldn't want that to get ripped off. Otherwise, I need to yank it off and re-glue it a little bit deeper down in there. But for now, it is what it is. But it's a neat little card because this can stand up just like that. They can keep that on a, you know, desk or mantle or bookshelf and be able to walk by and be like, okay, I know my friends are here for me always. If you wanted to, I decided to do mine this orientation. You could flip this and go this way with it. Or you can flip this sideways and go this way with it. This would probably be too long to do that. But just so you know that with this design of card, there's many different ways of orientating it with different product, not just what I'm showing you here today. But if you like this design, go with it and make it your own and do lots of things with it. Okay, so let's get down to what we need for this. Those are my inside pieces, so I'm going to set those there. We need to grab our trimmer. Now, to start with, this is 4 1/4 by 10 1/2. So we've taken a 1/2 inch off of this. It's not our full 11 inch. It's 10 1/2. Okay. So let me, what is going on here? Okay, come on. All right. Now we need to put this in there. We need to score without getting any of our ink on anything. We need to score at 1/2. And if you're more comfortable doing it the other way, you'll just have to flip your piece of paper around. So we have 1/2. We need to go to 1 3/4. 3 3/4. And 5. Okay, so that's going to be our main big box piece. So what we've just scored was this piece right here, making this little box. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to set that there. Our second piece that we need, this is 5 3/4 by 3. We're going to score this at 1/2. And 1 3/4. Now this has just created this piece right here, our front flap. Okay, now we can put this away. My tea's not so hot anymore. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our card base. So I want to be able to see this as the front. So I'm going to take this, fold this one up. You're going to bring them all in on themselves. So you're only pulling these pieces up, up, and up. Okay, so now there is our little box. This same little piece right here down on the bottom is creating that same little piece over there. So what you can do to make this fit exactly how you need it is we are pretty much just taking this and we are folding it down. And that's exactly what I've done right here. I've folded it down and we're going to glue this little piece right here. But before we do any of that, we need to grab our first piece of designer series paper. Now this is going to go on our back flap here. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And I did use a little bit of a different pattern than what I used on there. Now this paper here is called, this is called Boho Vibes paper. And I love the colors. It seems very earth tone. Let me pull some of this out. Very earth tone colors. And there's so many of them that would look so good on this. And this back color is Cajun Craze, if I didn't say that. Okay, that's going to go on our inside flap before we adhere anything down. I've got to put that there. Now we can go ahead and adhere that down, but we need to take a look that this is our front flap. It might be hard to glue anything down once we have that there. So why don't we just go ahead and grab our piece that we're going to put on here. Why don't we go ahead and just put that on now. So this piece here is 1 3/4 by 4. So this is the back side of that paper. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on here, and I am going to go a little heavy on the glue and just push that down. Okay, now you can also pull this up this way because that's how you're going to need it when you put it in a card or when you put it in an envelope. Because if you have it like this, that's too long to fit into an envelope. You're going to need that folded up to be able to put that into an envelope. It's also the same way you're going to need it when you add this piece. Do not pull this down. That's where I messed up. Is I pulled down and I adhered it up here and moved this part up in the middle of here. Nope. This bottom piece right here needs to be flush with your paper down here. So then when you close that, it's going to close nicely and be able to fit inside of your envelope. Because when I folded mine, because I had a space down here, this was glued up here. When I went to push this together, this top piece hung out over here. And then it made it too far up that, nope, that was not going to work for my card because it wouldn't slide inside of an envelope. It would hang off up here. You could give it to somebody and have it be okay, but if you wanted to mail your card, it's not going to work. So I will show you kind of what I did. Now I'm just going to take my fingers in here and I'm just going to rub that where I just adhered that. I know it's already stuck, but just to give it a good, for good measure. Now again, we're going to come to our scores and we're going to push these all up. Just like so. Now that gives us that little front flap for our box. Now, if I, like I did on this one, learning the hard way, I wanted to be able to see some of that pretty paper down at the bottom. But then when I adhered it, let me show you, it goes up way too far, and that will not fit in an envelope. It makes it too long. So that's where you need to have that down here and make sure that it should line up with the top of your paper, your designer series paper, and this designer series paper. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just so you know that you've got the right orientation of that. So then when it opens up, it will be like that and it won't go past that. Okay? Hope you followed that. Okay, so now I've got this piece here. This piece is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that's what's going to fit right on the front here. Now, as you can see, I've chosen a couple of different designs with some of these papers. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just put some glue down at the bottom here and right along this. I'm going to hold that together and push this all up and place the bottom down first, right along that designer paper, watching my sides, and then I'm going to go ahead and push that top piece down. And knowing that it's about right there, I want to really make sure I give that a good push. I have a little bit of seepage here, so let's clean that up. And then when that opens up, it is perfect. Now, if you don't like seeing, if you don't like raw dogging it like this, you can go ahead and take some more designer series paper and put up here. Same with the bottom. So like if it's closed, if you don't like seeing the raw, put some paper on it. There's plenty of this paper in all sorts of pretty colors that you could go crazy with this. But I'm gonna raw dog it. Okay, so there is our cute little like box or design. And then I've got my scrap of white, which is what we're gonna stamp here. I'm gonna grab this. Now this time, I'm not cutting the center out. I'm just going straight in with the Cajun Craze. What is going on here? There we go. So I'm going to grab Cajun Craze. And I'm going to clean this off. Squeak, squeak, squeak. And if that isn't enough to annoy you, you might just want to put your ink pad like that and then go this way. Then you're not getting all that horrendous slapping that down. Okay, I'm going to stamp this. Okay, there's my image. Then grabbing just the like open image, we're gonna lay this down and we're just going to die cut it. So then you come out with this. Really neat image, but then you've still got your leaves that hang over the sides, which I think is really kind of cool. Then we've got all these little scraps So for these, I need to take, now again, this will come already in your kit. I'm going to use this circle here. Now these, I believe, have been retired for a while, but these are called the deckled circle dies. I'm using number 2, just in case you do have them. I'm gonna go ahead and die cut that circle. Let me die cut a couple of other things since we're here. With this little open little flower again, I'm gonna die cut it on a piece of Secret C, and I'm gonna do 2 of them. And with this one here, I'm using a piece of that peaceful, what's that called? It is called the Peaceful Garden Glimmer Paper. So it comes in these 3 different color blues. I wanted to go with that dark one because that's the Secret C, and that's actually one of the colors that's inside of our paper here. So we're gonna go with that. And then on this piece, I am going to use this longer stem. It is from the stamp set with this longer stem here. I'm gonna actually stamp that on this. And even though it's not the same length as my paper, it doesn't matter because we're gonna be adhering it behind there anyways. But I'm gonna do tone on tone with this. So I'm gonna actually grab my crushed curry. Ooh, not crushed curry, wrong color. I'm gonna grab Daffodil Delight. That is the right color. These ones I don't need to stamp, so those ones just need to go over here. This one we're going to stamp. Do 1, 2. I'm gonna do 3 just in case. If we want an extra one added, then we have it. And then that die is right here. Okay. So that one I need to actually adhere because it is one that is stamped and needs to be matching that die. So that one is the only one that needs to have the tape added to it. The other ones can go through just like so. Of course, my husband got a bunch of Legos for Christmas, so that is what he's been doing. He's had the last couple of days off, and so he has been a Lego maniac. Okay, we're gonna need that little circle. We're gonna stamp on that, but first we need to grab out our little flowers, or not flowers, but foliage. Right in front of your face. Dirt to dirt. Okay, there's that one. I'm gonna do that again so that can stay there. That one can go there. We're gonna do another tape for that. Okay, I go ahead and cut that again. Oops. Trying to hold my plates together. Okay, there's that one. Okay, that tape is fried. Okay, and then we've got this last one. So I'm gonna put those there just in case we decide that we want to add a little bit more. We'll have some of those scraps left over. Okay, there's that. All right, so now we've got all of our pieces that we need. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to pop this up on the front here using some dimensionals. So if you are new to my channel and you like crafty things, please like and subscribe. You can hit that little notification and it'll notify you every time I go live. I try to go live every Monday. Sometimes I take a day off, but for the most part, I am live every Monday. I do go live a couple of other times during the month. I do mystery stamping. I do our cocktails and cards. Me and my husband, we do a live together, but that's over on Facebook. Also, I do a scrapbook live. I use my paper pumpkin and I do a scrapbook alternative. So yeah, I would love to have you as my follower. Okay, I'm going to put that like that. And when you hit that thumbs up and give me a like, it helps the algorithm that more of our crafty friends can see our videos and come in and join the conversation. Okay, there's that little shimmery. Do another one here. Okay, those are done. This one's got a few of them. We've got some stragglers here. See, this is why I was saying I had to vacuum my floor, because see all this little confetti mess here? Sometimes they don't all make it to the garbage. Sometimes, I mean, the majority of the times they hit the floor. Okay, there's all of our pieces. I do want to stamp my image really quick in this little circle. So I'm going to stick these pieces right there. So then we'll build those as we go. This, I'm going to use the sentiment that says, "Here for you always." That's going to go in here. I'm going to turn it around so it's not upside down. Using some more of that Versamark. Stamp that in that circle. And no, I didn't use my little stamping buddy, my little powder puff like I normally do. But hopefully we'll be okay. Yep, I think that looks pretty good. We didn't have too much extra sticking to it. That's a good thing. I think my hands are too cold to have any oils on them. Okay, let's grab that. This heat tool is getting its run for its money today. Kind of nice. It heats up your hands too. So if you have cold hands, just fair warn you, that thing gets very, very hot. Okay, we're gonna put that there. Let's move that out of the way. Let's bring our card in here. Now let's build this up. I'm going to place that right there. We can take these and tuck them. Again, making sure we're not going too far past our card. So I'm just going to come in here, add a little bit of glue to this. Do the same thing on this one. I go up that way. Ouch. I should have adhered these to this before I tucked it on, before I put that up there, but you know what? I didn't. So here we are. We need to use our mini dimensionals because we now have to get these to stick in there. Okay, so I'm going to take that and tuck that right like so. Okay, now it's okay if they hang over on the sides because as long as they don't go past this, you're all gravy. But these ones, we need to make sure that we don't go too far past that. So that one's going to just get tucked right in there. Yeah, I would definitely say make sure you add these before you put this. Adhere them to the back of that. But fail moment. But we're going to make do with what we have. Okay, that one's going to work right there. Take this one. Come a little bit further down. I don't know where that extra one, oh, there it is. Sometimes they stick to the back, sometimes they stick to the roll. So I've got to look around for them. Maybe I'm going to go down even further with this one. I think I'm going to go right there with that one because then that'll look good down there by that circle. Take this one, that one's going to go there. Okay, this one. Oh, that's going to stick up too far. There we go. Okay, just like that. Now with this one, I'm going to take a couple of mini dimensionals and just run along the side here because I know this is going to overhang to this. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here on this white. And then pop that on there just like that. I love that just little bit of shimmer on there. I really think that adds a lot to this card. Okay, so there is that. Now we do have this whole portion back here that we can use that for our inside. I mean, it's the back side, but I'm going to use a, what is this, 3/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch. Where is this? Yep, 3/4 of an inch. And just pop that on the back there. This can then get adhered right to the back. if you're going to stamp anything on this back, stamp before you adhere it. Because see how it's kind of, you've got all this bulk up here. So it would be kind of hard and uneven to try to stamp on it. I'm just going to leave it alone. So there we have our little neat fun fold that actually stands up. So our recipient can go ahead and add that to a shelf and see that forevers. Because nothing's happening to this. It's kind of, well, it could be, and it could be destructible. Don't have flames around it because paper is flammable, and water. Water will ruin paper. Let me just tell you. I've been there, done that. That's always been one of my rules whenever I have an in-person class is when you sit at the table, make sure and I always have like a little table sitting off to the back that they can have their drinks. They can either set it on the floor beside them, like especially if they have like a Stanley cup or something like that. I always try to make sure that I tell people if you bring a drink, make sure it's got a closed lid on it. Set it on the floor, or they can set it on the table behind them, depending on where my events are at. If we're at somewhere that serves drinks, obviously they probably don't have lids on them. Those need to go on the table behind us. But yeah, because we've had accidents happen, and it doesn't only just ruin their project, sometimes it ruins other people's projects, and that cannot end well for some people. So then it's just a whole disaster. So yeah, I've gotten kind of used to keeping my drinks aside, or I keep my other cup back behind me so I don't wind up doing that. Not to say that I haven't done it in the past, but let's bring in all 3 of our fabulous cards that we created tonight. So are you guys loving this set? Do you own this set already? If not, are you ready to buy? Isn't this a cool set? I know it's one of those things that unless you see it be used, Pinterest is a huge like influencer, I guess you would say. Great inspiration there. If you haven't seen a set but you look at it and you're like, huh, that's kind of interesting. I highly recommend you remember the name of it, go over to Pinterest, search it, and look at all the ideas that people are creating with that that bundle or stamp set or just dies, because you're gonna find a ton of inspiration there that when you buy a set and you've only seen one person work with it, it's kind of nice to watch other people's ideas, because we all have a different niche to ourselves, that you'll find other ideas and you'll be able to extend the life of your stamp sets to get so many more projects out of it than just, like if you are just seeing these 3 and this is not a selling point for you and you're like, well, I like it, but not enough to buy it. Go look on Pinterest and I guarantee you'll be buying this set. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for spending your evening with me. Have a very, very wonderful and safe New Year's coming up. I know they were talking about fireworks, but a lot of you guys live back east, so I'm sure with the weather, probably fireworks are not a thing there. Here in the dry desert, why is it a thing that people blow things up? I don't know, but it's scary because being in a dry desert, it can be very flammable. and sometimes it is, and you really have to watch your neighbors because, have hoses ready, have the things ready. Because sometimes you have to put out the fire so it doesn't affect your home and your animals and stuff. So, all right, you guys, thanks so much. Again, this is called the Friendly Foliage. When you place your order of $35 or more with me through the 4th of January, you will get this fabulous kit in the mail. Make sure you buy that set so you can create these as intended. And I will catch you guys on the next Monday. As always, create, craft, and spread kindness. one card at a time or project at a time. All right, guys, take care. Good night. Bye-bye.